Hey guys, Devo here from Movies and TVs on the Ball, and with me as always is my boy
Jay.
And we just got out of Thunderbolts, the, I guess, 26th, 27th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is, Jay, what was your kind of first impressions, or did you know anything about the Thunderbolts?
I really didn't know anything about it, just saw the trailers looked really good going into it, and then I was, pleasantly surprised. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it was, and I kind of thought, it reminded me a lot it did remind me of a little bit like the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Kind of, I think kind of more the raunchier version of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
If you will, but this started, it has Wyatt Russell, who is Kurt Russell, is Goldie Hawn's. He plays U.S. soldier, or U.S. agent.
I think you said U.S. agent.
U.S. agent.
He's the one person I didn't know. You said he was from the
He
TV
was
show?
from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Right.
Winter Soldier is in it. Bucky Barnes.
Yeah.
And if at the end of Captain America, or in Captain America 4, he just got elected to senator.
Right, or a congressman.
Congressman, yeah. And so he was in there. Then there's
two people from Black Widow.
Which is
her sister. Elena.
Elena, and then the Crimson Bolts. What was that?
The Red Guardian.
Red Guardian.
Right.
And which is sort of the dad, Black Widow's dad. And then you had Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. So they're kind of the ragtag team.
Right.
And then you had
Bob,
who was this.
Should we say, or is that spoiler?
That's spoiler probably.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, scratch that. Then you had Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who played Elaine in Seinfeld. She plays.
Oh, I didn't recognize her. Okay.
Who does she play?
The CIA director.
CIA director, and she's putting up a team, right?
Yeah, she puts up this team, and that's sort of, I don't know how much spoilers we want to get into, but she
Yeah.
sort of like orchestrates a lot of things.
Yeah, she orchestrates a lot of things. And what was your kind of thoughts of kind of did you feel like after watching kind of the Marvel movie, you think this Marvel film really brought everything back to kind of where it kind of, I feel like people kind of have talked about how Endgame was sort of like the last, how do you get from, Endgame was probably the last of the Marvel, Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home was sort of the last of that were really like fan things. So I've noticed that like the movies that previously did Ant-Man, or the Ant-Man Quantumanium didn't do well.
That's what I haven't seen.
And but for this one, I feel like I liked it. It reminded me a lot like it was fun. Like the characters were fun. They kind of reminded me like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad, but the Suicide Squad.
Right.
And so these guys were basically fighting, or
Just don't spoil it, Steve.
What
was your thought? How'd you feel about the movie?
I liked it. I thought it was more exciting. It was funner. It was more fun than, let's say, like I feel like Captain America.
I liked how
4 was a little bit more. It didn't have as much fun,
right?
As like maybe like this kind of put as this was, if you don't count Deadpool and Wolverine, I feel like this was sort of as good as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Okay.
Not as good as it, but it's it was kind of nice to kind of come back to Marvel's form.
Right. Because I didn't watch all the trailers, but I liked how the trailers sort of didn't spoil
everything.
Yeah,
and I kind of like the characters. I like the fact that we see Ghost is back, who was the kind of villain in Ant-Man and Wasp, which was one of our first videos that Austin and I did. Second videos that Austin. Anyway, I liked how she showed up. I liked you had the sister of Black Widow, and she's kind of the main character.
Yeah.
Or the one we're kind of focusing on.
Right.
And she's basically running through
missions
and stuff. And then you had...
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I did really enjoy. I liked the villain design.
Yeah,
it was very, almost, gave me a little chill. Like, he's creepy.
Creepy, yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but
right. But I think it was fun. It brought Marvel back into its form. I think I liked how I liked how this and I thought it kind of was a nice kind of. I could see this film, Captain America 4 and this film as a double feature. Like, it feels like it kind of... I know it's part of the cinematic universe, but it really feels like it really kind of connects to both of them.
Right. I felt like this one was better at sort of putting together the pieces.
Yeah.
Sort of building back up
stuff.
Yeah.
And I've kind of read, and I also kind of like... The action was pretty good. The characters were fun, and they really worked. I think all the characters worked together. It's kind of nice to see Bucky Barnes, kind of taking up the mantle of main guy, even though he wasn't in there as much. But it worked pretty well. I'd probably have to give it maybe. What would you say? Out of a scale from 1 to 10,
8.5.
8.5. I'll give it an 8. So we'll give it an 8. I think it works pretty good. It's. I think Marvel's slowly putting down the form. I think the characters were the thunderbolts as they were really kind of a great characterization of each one. I'd have to say that this film was better. I thought it brought the funness, but it wasn't as fun as it was a little bit darker than...
it struck a good balance.
Yeah, it was a good balance between the light and gray.
Yeah.
So I guess that would kind of be my kind of point of view. I feel like it works out that it works. I would have liked to have seen... I know that they're doing something with... Because I think Thunderbolts are named after the Red Hulk in the comics. Because Thunderbolt is a... Thunderbolt Ross, who was Harrison Ford's character.
I don't know.
So there's a connection between... But I think that's just the comics version. Because I think... Captain America Captain America Brave New World really transformed into, this is a great segue from Captain America, Captain America 4 to Thunderbolts really worked really well. And then, and I think it's going to be an interesting, really interesting film going forward. I'm really excited that they're going to do the Fantastic Four. I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wondering with the Fantastic Four if they're going to do kind of what they did with Captain America, the First Avenger, where we're going to spend time in the 60s and then move into
the future.
Or to the modern time, right, I guess. Yeah. But that is our our quick look at, just got out of theater review of Thunderbolts. I'm Steve.
And I'm Jay.
Coming up next, we're
going to do John Wick 4
John Wick 4 eventually. So
it's
coming, but we just haven't had enough time. Anyway, as always, like and subscribe, and see you at the movies. Bye.